Right, new season, new dungeon. Destiny 2 is so back, baby, for a couple of weeks at least. I'll tell you what, this dungeon is very fun. You know, it's difficult, but not like a massive pain in the ass. You know, you don't have to 17 phase the last boss solo like a certain other dungeon. But Strand Titan is very much carrying this whole situation. People have been going crazy with the whole Worm God rework. I've only used it a little bit. I'm not quite used to it, you know, punching a bunch of guys, especially on that first boss. You keep punching those stupid little Scorn guys with the shields, and they just are immune. And then you punch him, and you punch him again, and then sometimes it still doesn't kill him on the second line. You gotta punch him again. You just keep punching and punching and punching, and then eventually you just lose your mind, and then just give up entirely on that and switch back to the Sept again. Having a lot of fun with this dungeon. I was up for release, which is at 4 AM in my time zone, so that was a nice bright and early time to get up and do that. So that's great. First boss, you know, relatively simple, introduces you to the mechanics and that whole punching thing I just mentioned before. The prison was stuck in there for a good, you know, 15 minutes, just having absolutely no idea what the hell was going on. But, you know, we got there in the end, and it was sitting there taunting you with the loot, just sitting right outside the prison with no way to get to it. But, you know, we got there in the end, obviously. Second boss, a big taken ogre. What's not to love about that? The mechanics for this boss are like super satisfying to me for some reason. You know, you shoot your little acolyte eyes and that spawns your big dudes, and then you can like bait them into throwing out one of those little things that you cap to get the thing. And if you do it right, you can even get 4 of them on solo if you get kind of lucky and they're overlapping. But it's pretty inconsistent to do that. But it is theoretically possible, which I like, and I've done it at least one time. You get a bunch of plates of damage, which was the very first time I ran through this solo, just to sort of get the lay of the land for the solo flawless attempt. It was a tremendous pain in the ass to try and get the big guy into the ring so I could effectively use my Strand Super to do big damage on him. I was sort of just waiting half the time, because if you shot like a rocket or something at it, it would just stagger and take even longer to crawl its way over to you, which was a bit of a pain in the ass. But, you know, we've reworked strategy since then. It's mostly just Strand grappling now. But I really like that boss. All the mechanics are very satisfying to do. Jumping in there for a first time, you sort of know you've got to cap the bone in a little Scorn case. You got to capture that, and depending on how many of those you capture is how many of those little balls you get, and that's all very, you know, very satisfying and good fun sort of gameplay loop situation. And, you know, it's relatively challenging while not being, you know, a massive pain in the ass, which is a very satisfying, you know, dynamic, I would say. And you can do it relatively quickly, which I like. The last boss is damage central on solo, at least. I love how you just like get to do damage on like every sort of floor of this boss, and I cannot wait to see someone do the entire bar on one floor of damage. Also, it seems to be it has a final stand section of its health, but like the final stand just sort of lasts forever. There's no like white mechanic or anything. You just sit there, like, you know, until the end of time if you wanted to, and nothing would ever happen, which I found to be a little odd. It seems like if you're going to have a final stand, you know, you're going to have your Oryx clap, or your Riven screaming at you, or your whatever it is that Nezarek is doing. I really like how this boss works. It gives me big Argos vibes from the Leviathan Eater of Worlds raid lair, which is never ever coming back, by the way. So, you know, just come to peace with that right now, because it's never happening. But, you know, a big circle, and, you know, you get the platforms at the top at the end. It gives me, you know, that's relatively similar to Argos. It's kind of similar, at the very least, in the fact that it's a big circle, which is sort of what the Argos boss fight arena is. So bit embarrassing, but I don't actually have solo flawless yet. On the first day, I was just sort of doing the dungeon solo just to sort of get to grips with all of the mechanics and what would be the best sort of thing to do solo, and the answer is, you know, Titan mostly. And it took me an unbelievable amount of time to just kill the last boss solo, because by that point in the day, I was very tired. Been up since 3 in the morning and doing it at like 5 PM. I was having a bit of a mental breakdown by that point, and I was very tired. So next day, I came back in fresh after having beaten it solo, saying, yeah, we're gonna get a solo flawless today, baby. A few attempts in, you know, I was doing alright. I was, you know, making it to the second boss at least. But every single time that I have to reset because I died at some stupid thing happening at the boss, it crashes the game. And I've got to relaunch and then reset the dungeon and then load it again. And that is very annoying. And, you know, After a certain amount of resets, I didn't even do that many attempts, but after a certain amount, I was just like, maybe I just won't launch the game again. And I didn't, but I'm gonna go for some more attempts today, and hopefully we might get it. I'm not a huge fan of the solo flawless emblem for this one. It's kind of a mixed bag. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're the one from Duality. But then again, I guess it is, you know, art, so it's just very subjective, but I don't really care for this one. But I will get it and use it for a little bit at least, just to show that I have solo flawless this dungeon. Oh, and there's like some weird quest and triumph stuff for this. I haven't even finished that quest you get. I think it just gives you like an exotic, which is kind of weird. Like a random exotic, I thought is kind of weird, but you know, I'll take it. I'm happy with that. Eventually I will complete that and do that and get that. But there's like some unlockable doors, and initially when we were first going through, I thought, oh, maybe unlocking these doors would be like a shortcut through this dangerous place. But it's not that. There's just a little bone in there, which was a tiny bit of a disappointment. If you're gonna tempt me with a secret unlockable door, I'm gonna think there's something good through there, not just a weird bone for a quest. So let's talk about the weapons. The exotic, I don't really know what it even does yet. One of my friends got it on their very first run, so must be nice, but I haven't really, you know, I haven't used it because I don't have it, and I haven't really seen anyone talk about it at all, so I can't, you know, see it being the most insane thing in the world. But I'm interested in it. It looks very cool. It's got a weird little like icon for its exotic picture. It's like a tiny little, like, looks like half of a gun in the picture, and it looks very cool in the hand. It's got a big purple cross on it, so that's cool, and that might very well be good. But the other weapons, the legendaries, wow, I have never seen such a sorry selection of weapons for a dungeon. Like, I mean, a caster frame sword? I mean, at least give it a chance. The sniper, I just don't see anything happening with that. It just does not have the perks to make it anything. But then again, snipers do keep getting buffed every season, so maybe it could be something. Maybe. The bow seems something. Seems, you know, it's got some perks on it, but I was just, whew. Look, they're not exactly the Ghost of the Deep weapons, let's just say that. We don't have the best rocket launcher, or the only kinetic slot wave frame, or an SMG in it. So, you know, it's not exactly doing much for the dungeon, let's just say that. However, we do have an entirely new rocket sidearm, which initially seemed to be seemingly like it was meant to be coming with Lightfall, but I don't know what exactly was going on there. I have to go back and watch exactly what was said about that. That was weird. Initially, I thought the exotic was going to be the rocket sidearm, and it was going to be like, oh, we're introducing the rocket sidearm as an exotic. Oh, look at that. And then it'll be a legendary in Lightfall or whatever. Or Final Shape, whatever the hell it's called. I suppose we'll get more with Final Shape. Solar one and a Void one, I imagine. But I haven't really used this one much. It could be something. Look, I'll give it that. It's possible that it could be something. None of the perks majorly excite me, but I am at the very least interested in this weapon. I'll tell you what though, 2 sidearms in a dungeon, like, oh my god. Tell you what though, 2 sidearms. This dungeon's only got 5 weapons. The weapons, a lot of the time, are the key to longevity for most activities. I wouldn't have played Ghost of the Deep nearly as much if it wasn't for the incredible weapon selection that I had. After I finish all the title stuff for this dungeon, despite it being very good and enjoyable, I don't know how much more playtime it's going to get out of me, personally. And the same thing goes for the new seasonal activity, the Coil. Like, that's going to be done in 2 weeks. But that's a whole nother thing I want to talk about another time. The seasonal stuff. We'll do another video for the seasonal stuff next week, maybe. That's it for this. Me liking new dungeon, and me want to play it more, and will be playing it more until I get solo floors, which I've not done yet because I'm a big loser. That's it. Like this video. We got more stuff, more Destiny stuff coming for at least a little bit. You know, this is a bloody long season, so we'll see. Maybe some more stuff will happen towards the end of it. I might actually talk about the Dawning when that comes out, because that is, last year when they did the Dawning, it was in the same sort of time period. It was super early in the season, and that was actually really satisfying to play it when it's early in the season, because I'm actually interested in the game at that time, and it's not like a weird, desperate, please go and play the game for this shitty little event, and buy the card, buy the event card, please, buy the event card, please. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like it's just an extra thing going on, which is interesting to me, so we'll see. Alright, like this video, that's very important, and watch the other ones. Watch all of the other videos on this channel right now. I need to farm a lot of watch time, so if you could please just get this video on repeat and just watch it over and over for some time. If you're like some sort of lunatic, you could do that, or watch the other Destiny videos on this channel. There's some new good world drops. There's an LMG that can get that perk from that weapon, the Gambit gun, and it's a world drop, and I had a big video crying about world drops a while ago, and most of that still stands. That's it. To like this video, I have to go and do the solo flawless dungeon, so I'll be doing that for the next 6,000 hours probably. Alright then, that's it. have a fun time doing the dungeon. Alright then. Yeah, I'm out of here. Alright, goodbye.